back to the Own It Show. I'm Heather Lee Chapman, your host and transformation coach. And today we're talking about getting unstuck, creating a limitless life with Laura Shepard, who is a leadership and transition coach for high achievers and the owner of North by Northwest Coaching and Consulting. I'm so grateful to have you on this show today. Thank you so much for being here. Tell us more about you.
Oh, Heather, thank you. I'm grateful for you having me here. It's exciting. I love speaking and sharing what I do and helping others. It feels good. What I do is I help those high achievers. They get more influence in both their work and life. Help them with a renewed sense of agency and confidence. You know, they're good, they're strong, they're active, but they've reached a place where maybe there's like, what else? What's next? And so I help them attract the opportunities that they really want to chase after. So it's really about getting inner alignment so that their outer success is aligned with their inner self, if that makes sense.
Yeah, having that outer world match their inner world by owning that inner world first. That's the conscious co-creating and living life by design instead of default.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. Choosing, right? Not waking up on autopilot. You know, you wake up and
Mhm.
go, "Oh, what's happened over the last few years?" And it's like, no, it's like choose. And it doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean it's a rainbow of roses or any of those things, but it's choosing when you are aligned within yourself. Um, Doing the hard is easier, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I've been saying to myself all week, one of my favorite things that they say at our hot yoga studio when we're all like slowly dying in the room is you can do hard things.
Yes.
And so I keep reminding myself that with all the things we've been doing this week, you can do hard things.
And you get to choose your hard.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh, that's empowering, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Well, give us the rundown on your story. How did you get started doing what you're doing and why do you do it?
Oh, well, thank you. So before I started coaching full time, I was in corporate world. I climbed the ladder. I did the things. I was in marketing in Canada, corporate. Saw all the things, and it was awesome. I was brand marketer. In brand marketing, you get to run your own business because each brand is its own business. So I learned a ton. It was exciting. It was different every day. It was like cross-functional leads. You're the expert in the consumer, but you own the P&L, so you have to like cross-functionally lead and influence across everybody. Manufacturing, packaging, supply chain, finance, sales, everything. So I loved it. It was an amazing learning experience. But then I did that and for quite a while, and then I woke up and realized kind of, is there something more? There needs to be something more. Is what's more meaningful out there? Um, so I sort of took all of my learnings that I did. I did a couple of pivots in my career. I jetted down to the Caribbean. Sounds very fun. I taught scuba diving and drove boats. Exciting, really hard, super fun. Thought I wanted to open my own scuba business, didn't, but I went to try it. So I explored, right? It's like, what do I have to lose? Nothing. I have massive experiences. I learned so much. And then I came back and, started doing what I did again in marketing. And then my internal compass started spinning again. And I'm like, there really has to be more.
Mhm.
And then I started working with coaches and I'm like, I didn't understand why I couldn't, find fulfillment. I always thought when I achieve this, I'm gonna be happy and I'm gonna like have landed it. And I did all the achieving and it didn't really give me anything. So when I found coaching, it was looking at my internal life, my internal world, and my internal alignment, and that changed everything. So coaching really helped me find my own path, my own purpose, and my compass found a direction. And since then, I'm walking that path. It's not easy, but it's so much more meaningful and fulfilling. And I wake up excited to get out of bed and do what I do. And it's fascinating. It's fun, and I get to help people. I get to use all the experience that I have and help people find their path and help people bring out the best in them, their authenticity in them, so that they can live in alignment and keep moving forward and finding meaning in their life.
And that's so, so powerful to live with purpose, to live with fulfillment, and to live with meaning. And it sounds simple, it sounds basic. And I can guarantee that if you were to pause and ask and check in with the majority of the people on the streets, are they living with purpose and intention? Are they happy and fulfilled? And it might even mean pausing and asking yourself, like, what does fulfillment mean to you? And what would that look like? And what would you sense when you have fulfillment? And maybe that's a question you really want to pause and ask. And I'd gone to this really cool speaking event actually, and it had a swear word in it, and I'm trying to think of it. It was like "get unfucked" or something.
Oh,
Like,
I love it.
pardon my language, but it was something really cool like that, and it was about getting unstuck. And she really was drawing out of us like if there was one main purpose that drives everything that you do, like really owning that why, like what is it? And I went up and I did it with her, and it got down to fulfillment. And
Mm-hmm.
I just pictured this graveyard where it would like it said, I died happy and fulfilled.
Oh,
On the tombstone, where for many people it might say like beloved father or what have you, but for me it was like I died happy and fulfilled, because at the end of the day that's the most important to me. And so that's my wish and dream for everybody else. And for so many of us, we haven't paused to even ask ourselves, what does happy and fulfilled look like? So really asking yourself that is
yeah,
powerful.
that is powerful. And what I came to find, what I learned through this whole becoming a coach, huge personal development process just in becoming a coach. And then I still have coaches to help me continue my journey. And it was really about, fulfillment was what I wanted. It's like when I did one exercise with a coach, and it was like, okay, so what's your goal? And you wrote out, okay, I want to be here in 3 years. And what's the time frame? What's your goal? What's the time frame? And what's the outcome, right? And it's like the goal was run a business, and the time frame was like 3 years or something, and the outcome was like being fulfilled. And they challenged us in that it's like your goal isn't to run a business, your goal is to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And it's like you can be fulfilled now. You just have to find the ways that fulfillment happens on a regular basis and find that meaning and purpose, so that it's not when you get something you're fulfilled. It's living it, being it's who you be. I like the who are you becoming, who are you being as a person now, so
Yeah.
that it doesn't mean you don't have goals that you're trying to achieve. It's just you can have the confidence and the feeling now, today, not wait for it.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest stoppers that keep people stuck is then I'll. When I have the business, then I'll be fulfilled. Actually, if you can't find a way to be happy and fulfilled now, even when you have the business, it will not fill the void. And so
Exactly.
no longer will we say then I'll. We actually consciously co-create and we embody it to become it. And we enter the state of the goal achieved, and we find that fulfillment now, and we'll actually attract the right people, places, circumstances, and opportunities to build that business. Because reminder, guys, it's not often the goal that we want. It's what the goal allows, which is what
Yes.
she was saying to you there, which I love. Such
That
a
feeling you want to have right now is what the goal is generally.
Yeah,
I
so
love it.
how can you find that feeling today? And it might look like going for a walk, something that will leave you happy and fulfilled, that you could do it now and not a someday.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, amazing. I love this story, guys. We all have our own journeys. And maybe it looks like taking a break and going diving and teaching diving, like how unique and cool. I have scuba dived once in Cuba, and it is hard, and it was also scary. yeah, what an experience. I didn't have enough weights and I didn't know how to work the
Mm.
tank, and everybody was swimming this way and I was swimming like this. It just kept going higher and higher. The guide had to hold my hand so I could go through the cave because otherwise I'd have been stuck to the roof of the cave. Oh, it was such an experience, but it took quite a while before I could keep my head under the water without like a panic. So there's
Yes.
such a mental game to that too, which probably builds so much mental resilience to help you build your business.
It's true. It does. And it also is what I take from scuba diving. It calms my mind. Because with scuba diving, when you're weightless, you're in this 3D, when you have the right amount of weights, the whole point is to be neutrally buoyant, right? So you're hovering above this beautiful world. It's a completely different world down there.
So
And all
magical.
you hear is your breathing, right? And everything's at slow motion for me. It's like you're
Mhm.
hovering, the world goes on half speed and you're just observing this amazing world down there. And it's like calming and relaxing for me. Now I understand when you first try it, it's scary and it's like, I can't breathe underwater.
I kept
But
going and having to come back up and be
and
like, you
come back.
can do it. You can do hard things.
You can do hard things, and the rewards for some of those hard things is fantastic, right? And so like the whole seeing a whole new life down below us. Our world is 70% ocean, right? It's like the life that lives down there is just fascinating.
Oh, absolutely fascinating. And it actually just reminded me there was one friend who was all in. She's the one who wanted to go. And I was like, I'll come along for the ride. I've always wanted to do it, but I can't say I'm feeling comfortable. And then there was another friend that was like, you can't pay me. I am
Mm,
not coming. And yeah, so the magic of overcoming fear and doing hard things and the consequences or the results or the value that you get after and what it's worth. And that view I will hold in my mind forever, like
yeah,
swimming in a coral reef with fish, just magical.
it is magical, and it is good for your resilience building too. It is like, okay, I can do this, and
Yeah, felt like a
help.
cold plunge, like an
Cold
adrenaline
plunge.
rush.
Haven't done that yet.
Oh, I love it. That's also mental resilience. Amazing. So let's dive into the tips. We've got some incredible tips today to help you live that limitless life and truly get unstuck because there is much more than what you think there is available for you. So, like you said, there really has to be something more.
Mhm.
And there is. And so let's dive into the tips to help people have, be, feel, see, sense, live that something more.
Lovely. Thank you. So, my first tip is to really reflect and audit how you spend your time. So, how are you living your life? How are you spending your time? So, for me, I take a look at my week. And for me, a week is 7 days. And there's 112 hours in that 7 days. That's 16 hours a day because I need 8 hours sleep. So, if you need less sleep, you have more time. If you need more sleep, you have less time. But I look back on the week that's passed and say, how did I spend my time? And did I spend it the way I wanted to? And then I look forward and go, okay, this is what I want to achieve in whole life. So for me, it's like I want to have there's health, there's social, and there's health, there's physical activity that I want to make sure I fit in, social activity, and of course work has to fit in there. And it's kind of like I make sure that I've mapped it out in advance, and then I reflect back to say, okay, did it work? Because it doesn't always work. It's not perfect, but it's like when you set yourself with a plan and intention, then it's more likely to happen. And life will still happen. And it's like, oops, that I didn't get that done last week. But it's because of this. It wasn't because I, was on autopilot and didn't do what I wanted to do. So I just think we need to spend more time reflecting on how we're spending our time and auditing it and then making a plan moving forward.
I love that. It reminds me of my one of my favorite sayings from Bob Proctor is whatever is in your calendar, you're trading your life for. So I hope it's worth you. And
Ooh.
so pause and may you reflect on and Steve Jobs would say, if this was your last day on earth, could you look yourself in the eye and say, I would be happy and fulfilled doing what I'm doing. And if you can't look yourself in the eye for too many days in a row and say, if this was my last day on earth, this is what I would want to be doing, then you want to make a change. And that's where that reflection comes in. Instead of just being like a speedboat running through life to the next thing, there is so much magic in that slowing down and actually reflecting. And so, my favorite, we use a habit tracker in our community. Of course, you guys can grab that at ownitempire.com. The favorite thing about a habit tracker is whatever you track improves. So it's
Yes.
not about checking the boxes, a good, bad, right, or wrong. We just know whatever we track improves. So that's why we do it. That's the meaning. So when we use our habit tracker, I have taught my clients that we set our day up. So before we start the day, we actually set our intentions. We create magical outcomes. We decide how everything's going to go. And then at the end of the day, we actually reflect and audit. Oh, and before the day starts, we ask, what's the best that can happen? Show me now,
Ooh.
universe. And then at the end of the day, we would harvest the good. We would gather what we need to learn. We would actually update our calendar and say, how did things actually go? Because one of the biggest lies entrepreneurs tell ourselves is how long things actually take. It is usually like 3 times longer. So we actually reflect so we can set ourselves up for success for next time. So one is updating that calendar, resetting that priority list, and then reviewing that habit tracker. So I love to do a review of my habit tracker from last week. How did all of last week go? And then I set myself up for this week, and then we do a daily. And at the end of every day, since we asked what's the best that can happen, at the beginning, we would then reflect on what is the best thing that happened. And we harvest all the wins and pick the thing we're most grateful for so that we're going to sleep in the energy of gratitude. And so, really being intentional and conscious and aware of how we spend our time, what we're exchanging our life for. Time is the one thing you don't get back. And so I hope the way you're spending it is worth you. It is such a powerful tool when we start to think of it that way.
Oh, I love it. And I love harvesting the wins, right? It's so important. We look back and see our tendency is to look back and say, well, I didn't do that, and I didn't do that, and I didn't do that. And it's like, but looking back first from the positive, I did do that. I got that. I won that. That's good. That reinforces the positive and the energy of intention and growth. I love that.
Yeah, and that is truly showing self-love. One of the Louise Hay would say the number one thing to help you with self-love is to release self-criticism. And so instead of criticizing everything throughout the day, which is unconscious habit, which most of us do, what would happen if you harvested your wins and celebrated yourself instead? And you can still decide on lessons that you learned. Yes, harvesting the wins instead of being your own worst critic will change your energy. And Neville Goddard says, whatever you go to sleep in goes into the womb of creation, aka your unconscious mind, and creates your tomorrow.
Wow, that's good.
What are you thinking about before you go to sleep?
That's powerful. Definitely setting myself up for an intention before I go to sleep to, gratitude and thankfulness is just, it's powerful.
Obviously, those last 5 minutes before you go to sleep, whatever you're thinking about, that is going into the unconscious mind. And we create our tomorrow energetically. And tomorrow you get to wake up and respond or react to the world that you created via your thoughts, feelings, and actions yesterday. So own your energy, reflect and audit how you spend your time, and may it be in a way that is in alignment with you.
Love it.
So let's dive into tip number 2, because I could keep talking forever about calendar, scheduling, time, reflecting. It's one of my favorite things to do is help people take their time back. So tip number 2, what are your core values?
Yes.
How are you living them? And what really matters to you? Tell us why that's important.
Well, I think that's super important because what we focus on expands, right? And so and whether it's and what you do, the tensions that you do and what you track, as you said, also is what we focus on and expands. So what is really important to you is everyone says, what are my core values? But it's like, what are they? You say, okay, integrity, great. But what else? What else? What else? Keep going deeper and deeper into what really matters to you. And then the what I like to add to that is, how are you living that core value? So, and if there's a gap, this is so adventure, being an adventurous is a core value of mine. And have I done any trips or done any adventures in the city that I wanted to in the last 6 months? And like, haven't really done as much as I usually want to do. So I'm not living that value for me. So it makes me go, is it really a value if I'm not living it? Or if it is a value, how can I shift and change so that I'm living it more? Because it's important to me. So when it's really important to me, I make changes to live into that value more. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. And what I'm really getting from that is the number one thing is like, what are those core values? Because if we want to check in if we're living them, we first have to have the awareness of what are they. And maybe you want to take some time and sit down and ask yourself, like, what matters to you the most? And what are those core values? And then how can you start living them?
Yes.
Yes.
And don't like, we don't have 20 core values. We have like a top three, top 3 to 5. Three is better because it truly makes you think, well, I want this is important and this is important, and everything can't be important.
And then it makes you have discernment with your decision making because you can
Yes,
ask yourself, is this going to get me closer, farther away, and be in alignment with my core values? And then you can make a decision from with intention and
absolutely.
yeah, your highest purpose instead of being on autopilot. And that's how we consciously co-create.
Yeah, it's choosing, right? Like you just it's co-creating and choosing your life. You design your own life. You create it with every choice that you make, and making no choice is a choice, and that's okay. But be aware of the choices you're making. And the beautiful thing that we have with life is you make a choice, you see what happens, you like it, you get the feedback, you go,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep making choices along this line, or you get the feedback, go, that didn't work the way I want it, I'm going to make a new choice. And it's not about going backward, it's always about just getting the information from the choices that you make, and then making new choices based on that. And that and are those choices in alignment with your core values, what matters to you most, so that you're going in the direction that you want.
And I love that, not taking life so seriously, right? Like it's a game, you're testing it out. Is it in alignment? Good. If not, change it. You get to. You are in charge. So I like that, going in with, thinking it's a little bit more if I'm playing the game of life. I'm going
Yes,
to take this pathway. If I don't like it, I can change. I
yes,
get to.
you get to.
I get to, and all through those magical choices that you get to make, with the discernment and knowing those values, you can make those better choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's every day is a new day. Every day we get to wake up and make a new choice and make another step towards our goal, and take a break. Like it's like knowing within yourself where you're at, what season of life you're in. Do you need to take a rest time? When you work out, you don't work out 24 hours a day or 7 days a week, like hardcore. You got to have rest days, right?
Yeah.
So knowing when we need to take a break, knowing when we want to keep moving forward. And it's hard to do on your own, right? Like we do a lot on our own, and it's awesome, but having a community like yours and support like yours, and being around people and asking for help, especially women, it's hard for us women to ask for help. We're strong and independent and can do it on our own. And it's so much more fun and easier when you actually ask for help and do it with others.
Yes, I love that. And like you said, you have coaches. I have mentors and coaches. All good mentors and coaches have mentors and coaches because
Yes.
they know the value of it. And in fact, they encourage that 20% of your revenue goes towards your education and continued mentorship and coaches because you want to keep growing and not be your own upper limit. So be your best investment.
Exactly. That goes to the limitless life, creating a limitless life, right?
Yeah, and how can you create a limitless life is when you can remove those limits that you've set on yourself unconsciously. And sometimes that requires a coach or mentor because you can't really see it yourself. There's a saying in NLP, if you can name it, that's not it.
Yes.
And so that's where coaches and mentors like us can come in. And what made you learn about NLP and become certified?
Great question. I had a I have multimodality certification, and the NLP, what really intrigued me about NLP, so I had a coaching program from IPAC, a traditional foundation coaching program with leadership. And what fascinates me always is our brain, the neurology in our brain and how our brain works and what we filter and how we don't filter. And so when I found out, I was digging into NLP, it was like, ooh, this is fascinating. It's like, how do 95%, there's different numbers, but 95% of time we're running on unconscious programs. And it's like, wow. And then, the 5% is conscious. And how do you connect the two together so that they talk
Yeah.
and agree? And so NLP will like opened up that world to me, and so it's added more tools in my toolbox to help, connect that unconscious, change the unconscious programming, and then connect it to the conscious so that it sticks.
Yeah. And guys, neuro linguistics programming, NLP, is the study of excellence. It's really how to live an excellent, authentic, happy, fulfilled life and be an example of excellence in this world for other people to model. There's always lots of growth opportunities in the world and lots going on where we could reflect and see that the world's not a great place or the world is a great place. And so, how do we start to make that heaven on earth true reality is becoming excellence ourselves, an example of excellence for others so that we can raise the standard, the level, the frequency for the world. And so I always congratulate anyone who studies NLP, teaches NLP, uses NLP. I first discovered it at Landmark Worldwide Education in downtown Toronto, and I say they gave me my life back. I was
Mm.
post concussion. I was out of integrity. I couldn't keep up with things. Everything was feeling chaotic. And I went from a super high performer to high achiever to trying to keep that all up while having a concussion and multiple other health ailments. And it gave me so much power back. So if you're just learning about NLP, you definitely want to reach out to Laura or myself and dive into it, get a book. It is really the study of human potential and behavior and how to reproduce excellence. And there's so much magic to it. So I'm super excited for yourself, for myself, for our future clients, current clients, because we get to live a life of excellence.
Yes.
And we have an opportunity to help others do the same, which is so magical and powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally. And it's like that whole neurology and language, right? Language, linguistic language. Words are powerful, right? Words are important, and we don't always have the same definition individually for words. And so I love when it's getting curious with, if you're communicating something and it's not landing, get curious about, wonder what the meaning they took from those words that I said. This is what I intended, but they're taking this. Okay. How it's not it, how do I, connect with the person so that they hear what I'm trying to say? So, and understanding the depth. Oh, well, what does that mean to you? Right. And oh, that's not what I intended. So, it helps with living excellence and living our best life and coming authentically as us and being able to I believe there are many ways to live your life, and every single person has gifts, and
Mm.
showing up with your unique gifts in the world will raise that vibration and spread things, and it starts with us.
And that, well, it absolutely does start with us. Todd James is the creator of timeline therapy, and the school of NLP and timeline therapy that I study is through Tad and Adriana James. Absolutely love it. And one of the things he says is we get to heal the world one person at a time through timeline therapy. And he taught me something different. A lot of some people might think of NLP a little bit more old, toxic, masculine,
Mm,
was maybe run a different way. And so old way of NLP is like, oh, you didn't get my communication. You put a meaning to it, which I didn't mean. So that's your problem, your fault.
mm.
Chad would say, well, that's old NLP, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I hear you. I'm just like, no, that's not it.
right? And so the old NLP would be like, well, I said this, you gave it a meaning. That's your problem. That's your fault. I can't make you feel anything, right? Would be the common saying. Where Tad would say, well, you're responsible for your communication. And especially as a practitioner, if you did not elicit the response you desire from the other person, you take full responsibility. It's because of your communication. And I
Yes.
love the book, The Course in Miracles, and they explain it like this. Life is just what it is. It's meaningless and empty. Everything just is what it is. And then you give it a meaning. And the meaning you give to the experience creates your reality.
Yes.
And so, how do we give things meaning? We give things meaning through the language we choose to describe our world and experience. And so, your language is one of the most powerful, if not the most important tool, that your language and your thoughts that you have in this life to create. And so, we want to take responsibility for our communication. And because I was partially like that after many years in NLP. I was like, I can't make you feel any way. That's the meaning you gave to it. That's not what I said. Where instead now I would be like, oh, so I'm getting that you maybe have some trauma. And what I said is this, and then you gave it this meaning, and it triggered a trauma. So let me go back to see how I can change my communication slang instead of saying, well, I can't make you feel anyway. That's your problem, right? There's a lot of growth that happened there. And I would still say there are many NLP practitioners that still kind of live in that old way, right? And I love how Tad has taught us to take full responsibility, and that's where our power is.
Yeah, no, that exactly all of what you said, because it's like communication is the responsibility of the communicator, not of the listen. And if your message isn't landing, you have to figure out how to get it landing the way you want it to land. And it's not on the other person, it's on you. And that's the way I was taught the NLP as well. And I love that. It's powerful. It's changed. It shifted. It's a definite mind shift of, ooh, yeah. So I was like, well, I said that. This is what I've told you that. I've told you that 1,000 times. It's like, well, if you're not getting it 1,000 times, there's something wrong with what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah. Instead of me saying it again and louder.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Let me just say it louder.
Maybe then you'll get it. That's not a great strategy.
No, not at all.
And I know we're getting off topic. We got one more great tip here, but I wanted to just talk about representational systems here. As NLP nerds, let's share that. So we have kind of different learning systems, different representational systems. Some people are visual, some are auditory, some are kinesthetic, so it's more about feeling. And then you have auditory digital, which are a mixture of all of them. And so we all, depending on your representational system, will also change the words you use to describe your reality. So this is where you could be talking about the exact same thing, because you're talking about the world in your representational system and not necessarily in theirs. They don't get it. So I love Tad gives the example of like, do you see what I'm saying? No. Do you hear what I'm saying? So that was a visual person and an auditory person. And so there's so much cool techniques and tools that we learn in NLP to help improve our communication, elicit the response that we want, and of course, in the best and highest way of all involved, and never in a manipulative way.
Oh God, no. Yeah, no, it's all about just communication and understanding, right? And being curious. And I love that. I know it's that do you hear what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? It's classic because it's like, it's the exact same thing. But if you're visual, you connect with it when you say, I see what you're saying. Right. And if you're auditory, you connect with the message. Do you hear what I'm saying? And it's powerful. And I'm a blend.
Me too. You're auditory digital.
Well, I'm actually no. It's so funny. I'm high on visual and kinesthetic, and auditory is a little bit lower, and AD is a little bit lower. So I guess I'm a blend of just visual and kinetic, and it's funny.
But like you say, it's a blend, and they're all kind of close to each other, and that's actually our goal is to begin to use them all. So my default is visual. That's why
Yeah.
everything will always be staged. My hair will look nice. You'll often never see things messy because things have to look good.
Right.
And I've learned over time. And so auditory is something I've picked up, kinesthetic, the feeling. And I always find this is one of the coolest things. So for people who are kinesthetic, because you won't wear clothes that don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I was like, oh, that's so kinesthetic because if it's not comfortable, I am not wearing it.
Not wearing it.
I don't care how good it looks. So that trumps the visual, right?
Yeah.
It's so cool when we can learn about ourselves. It gives us
Yes.
so much awareness and power and insight to ourselves and others, which last leads me to think of the five love languages, which is also NLP,
Mm-hmm.
right? One is physical, but one is acts of service. And so they're like, but he doesn't love me. But he's doing things for you all the time. That's how he's showing his love. Yeah, but he doesn't hug me. But that's
Yeah.
because he loves in a different way. So the more we can learn about each other, the actual better our relationships and everything can be. And that's where life truly becomes limitless.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because it's like so much of our lives we go through, this is my perspective and me. And it's like, and we need to step back and go, what do they need and what are they doing? How are they showing up? And how do you then co-create together, right? To make with connection and humanity, to make it bigger and better and the vibrations just continue and the ripple effects going out, right? And the more you can understand yourself, then you can see in others, oh, that's why they respond that way every time I do this. Interesting. Okay. It's like it's amazing. But it starts with us. It starts internally. You have to start with yourself versus trying to figure out others, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It all starts with transforming ourselves. That's awareness of self. That's
Yes.
the number one thing to change in transformation. Absolutely. Okay, so let's dive into tip number 3, pause, align, lead. Ask yourself the right questions to start aligning within. What does that mean?
Well, for me, that's the start like asking yourself the right questions is started looking at yourself, right? Looking at what matters most to you and looking at, where you really are in life. And there's so many different areas of life, right? It's like you may be great in some areas and off in others, and that's okay. And it's like, where do you want to start and ask yourself the right questions so that you start the alignment process, right? Because then that's when you understand, is my core value here and am I living it? Is there a gap, right? Or am I great on that? Awesome, yay, check mark. Keep doing it. And then here's where I need to figure out how I live that, or or is it really not a core value? It's just something I'm supposed to be doing, right? And it's like looking at those things. So when you set yourself up by asking yourself the right questions, and I have a little giveaway that has my list of questions to ask yourself. It doesn't take a long time, and it's meant to provoke thought internally to see where you're at and what needs to change and how and start the process.
I love it. And guys, it's a simple questionnaire, 5 questions to ask yourself. Grab that incredible free gift because the truth is, and I'm pausing because I really want you to hear this. Some of the best transformations will come from the questions you ask yourself. And so there's so much magic in this questionnaire. I want you to check it out, grab it. We'll have the link there below for you guys. So much magic in that self discovery. Ask yourself the right questions so you can align, lead, and guide yourself to live that happy, fulfilled, and limitless life and truly get unstuck and with results that stick. So
Yes.
I love it. Okay, so last but not least, my favorite part, because I'm a bookworm and book nerd, love my audiobooks. Wish I had created Audible. That is the best invention ever, as far as I'm concerned. What's your favorite book recommendation and why?
One of my favorite books is Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. And it's just powerful because vulnerability is what she's all about. Doesn't mean spilling your personal guts everywhere. It means that alignment. And we go through life building armor all around us to protect us, right? And we need it. We need armor. Every piece of armor that we've built has served a purpose. And when in your life are you going to start unpacking and unarmoring yourself so that you can live more authentically and be in the world? And so I found it super powerful. I love following Brene, and it reminds me all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm armored up. Ooh, what do I need? I got to breathe. Take a little piece of that armor off and be more me, because we all are human. And I have my own triggers, and I know when my armor comes up, but when I know it, I'm aware of it, and I go, okay, I choose to keep it or I choose to take it off.
I choose to keep it or I choose to take it off. So much power in the choice of having the choice, actually, of whatever's going to best suit you in your best and highest way at that time. And you may choose to keep something on for a little bit and then take it off later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need it. It's okay. It's not like being, open to attack or vulnerability. Like, it's not being open to hurt and pain and all those things. It's just, it's being that awareness, right? And the awareness of choice. And there are circumstances in my life where, yeah, I know my armor's up, and that's okay. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I love it. Amazing, amazing. So, guys, if you haven't checked out that book, I did it on Audible years ago. I can even see myself driving past Casa Loma, downtown Toronto, while I was listening to it. Such a great book. So, definitely check that out. Grab that gift from Laura and ask yourself the right question so you can get unstuck and create a limitless life. So, thank you so, so much for all the value you added for our guest today, Laura. Anything else you'd like to add, and where can they find more about you?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you, Heather, because it's like, thank you for providing this platform. I mean, what you give your community is powerful and wonderful. So thank you so much. And the best way to find me is through LinkedIn. That's where I do most of my my content, but I've also just started my Instagram. So I'm diving into that world and seeing what happens. But yeah, my LinkedIn, I think you have all my links to get to find me if anything strikes you as curious or interested. And I always offer a free discovery call, a free call to connect to see if there's fit to do any work or not.
Yeah, I love it. So we'll have all those links for you below, the free gift, her socials, connect with her, learn more, because guys, there really, really can be more to life if you allow it. And it all starts with you. So let's get unstuck and create a limitless life. So thank you again, Laura, so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And remember, everybody, stay happy, healthy, wealthy, expect magic and miracles, and what is the best that can happen? We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.